Hey everyone, Brad Allen, Predator Frenzy. Sitting in traffic, figured I'd do a little video. Told you I was going to do some videos kind of breaking up in a little more detail about some of the equipment and call sequences and things. I just did one about call sequences in the month of February, April. But a lot of people I see on Facebook making comments about what caliber to use. So here in West Virginia, we're at a 22 caliber restriction. There's a lot of great calibers out there, but typically in our area, the size of the coyotes that we have, a little bit bigger than what the western coyotes are, and I like to use something with the velocities and the energy of at least a 22 250. I use a 22 Creedmoor, and it does a phenomenal job. 22 250 does a great job also, and it is picking the right bullet. But if you're in a state where you don't have a restriction, the sixes, 6.5s, they do a great job. 7.62. There's so many different calibers, but you start getting under a 22 250, the velocities and the energy in those, you'll start seeing a lot more runners. But if you're getting into coyote hunting and you're saying, I want to go buy a rifle to coyote hunt with, you'll find out that a 223 AR is not the best thing to coyote hunt with. If you have one, and a lot of guys want to use the pray and spray method of a 223 and having an automatic, once you start settling down, killing more coyotes, you'll find out that running a bolt gun is usually just better. And it's a personal preference. It is not nice not having to work a bolt. I agree with that. But if you reload, even finding brass, picking up brass, ARs are really dirty. They have their place. Now, I have nothing against ARs at all. But if you're going to go out and you're saying, hey, what should I buy? What equipment should I get to coyote hunt with? I'm just getting into it. I'm going to suggest a 22 250 or greater in velocities and energy. Everybody wants to talk about shot placement, and yes, it's shot placement, but a 22 250 plus is more forgiving. It's not like we're going out shooting with a glass scope during the day. We're shooting it in a white or black image most of the time, and it is a lot less than what these larger calibers, and it's not calibers, it's cartridges, they are a lot less forgiving. So I want something that I can't always determine exactly where that shoulder blade's at. And I want something that is a little bit less forgiving. These things move so much at nighttime, and that's why I always like to bark and get their attention, to get them to stop, stay still for just. And there's times that I still have them move when I'm pulling the trigger, but they're less apt to move while you're pulling the trigger if you've got their attention by barking. So that's a very good tip to use. And always, I see so many people, and I've done this myself, they want to see a clear video and they won't zoom in. But if you have a glass scope out in the daytime, and I'm shooting for accuracy at 100 yards, if I have a 28 power scope, if I have an 18 power scope, it's going to be run up on max magnification. And I'm not saying to run your thermal at max magnification, but if it's out there at 350 yards, yeah, you probably want it on max magnification. These picture-in-picture views give so much better insight of what you're looking at. They can be magnified to a certain magnification, even full, and then your main screen be a little clearer. So use your focus knob, zoom in a little bit, and make that shot count. And like I said, these calibers or cartridges, even though that's 22 cal, some of these are going to be less forgiving. And a 22 250 plus with those velocities, and yes, the Creedmoor does very well. 22 Creedmoor, run a 75 ELDM Hornady. It's about 35, 50 feet per second. So it has a lot of the BCs on it are very good. Bucks the wind very well. Carries high energy out to a great distance. There's some people shooting 5, 6, 7, 800 yards with these newer LRF ballistic calculator thermal scopes. So the technology has come a long ways. But think about if you're just getting into coyote hunting and not just jump on board with the 223. If you're buying a gun, get something in that 22 250 plus. Countless friends that have started coyote hunting with me started out with a 223. I started out with a 223 myself. Actually, at one point in time, I bought a 17 because I didn't know any better. And it can be done with a 17. And yeah, those are the guys that's going to start saying, well, it's shot placement. Well, of course it's shot placement. It's you don't have the velocity and the energy to kill something that's less marginal shot than a bigger caliber, a bigger cartridge, something that's carrying that energy and that velocity through. And you want that hydrostatic shot. Even if you don't get an exit, that's not a bad thing. You don't want it to splash, but it going inside and almost acting like a grenade going off in that chest cavity, that's going to produce your bang flops. That hydrostatic shock, it's releasing all its energy into that animal when it hits. It's not hitting and blowing through and the energy still expanding on out into the air. It's dumping everything into that animal. So you're getting that hydrostatic shock that just blisters its whole system. And that's where we get our bang flops. Even though it's a coyote, some people will say, well, I don't care if it's gut shot. I'm not that way. I want to put that animal down as quickly as possible. And be quite honest, I don't want to walk after it. I don't want to chase it. I like getting pictures, and I like seeing a bang flop better than I do one spinning around chasing its tail for 30, 40 yards before it falls over even. So I'm always after that bang flop, that hydrostatic shock, putting down that animal as quickly as possible. So it's something to think about. And sorry, I'm making phone calls with my elbows. As always, you guys, appreciate you guys. Predator Frenzy, Brad Allen, God bless.